Hi, I'm Cammelletti, and you are listening to Snack Leadership. I will be talking about everything leadership, broken down into bite-sized pieces. You will hear what different leadership skills look like in organizations and how they can rise teams up or take them down. My hope is for you to feel inspiration and to create a spark in your mindset. Today, I am talking about time management. As we know from the interview with Sammy, time management is the process of organizing and planning how to divide our time between specific activities. Good time management enables you to work smarter, not harder, so that you get more done in less time, even when time is tight and pressures are high. As I started this journey of time management, which is kind of one of my favorite leadership skills, I have to actually work the opposite direction because of my strengths of being responsible and disciplined. I tend to over time manage, and so often my goal is to leave open space instead of fill it with everything that needs to get done because the planner in me just goes there. A fun activity that I did to start this off is I went to MindTools, their time management assessment, and I took their quiz on am I OCD, which it felt a little vulnerable because I scored high in the sense of the result said you're managing your time very effectively. So they also talk about like the 10 most common mistakes when it comes to time management. Starting with 1 is failing to keep a to-do list. I love a to-do list. I have a to-do list for just about everything. And my to-do list can be my calendar blocking, or it can be just in my notes on my phone as far as what I need to do to start getting the house ready for summer, as far as outside and all of the different pieces that go with getting the outside up and ready when it comes to the lawn and gardening and sprinklers and bringing out all of the cushions, etc. The next is mistake number 2, not setting personal goals. Yeah, I love personal goals. They talk about, that you can set them through SMART, and we are familiar with the acronym of SMART being, specific, measurable, etc. But really having those goals that are important to you. For me, what's really important to me is getting in exercise. So what I do is I make sure in my calendar that I have time blocked specifically for exercise. I'm a morning exercise person. That's how I like to start my day. And so I prioritize that in my calendar first thing in the morning. And then I also tend to color code my calendar because I really strive as a goal to live a balanced life where I can enjoy my life, but also still be productive. Now, for mistake number 3 is not prioritizing. If I did not schedule in my exercise, I would say it might not happen. Absolutely true. If I don't schedule in my social media postings, I could easily forget. The other part is in my older years and being a mother of a toddler, I just find that my brain gets so overwhelmed that I have to schedule things. Otherwise, I literally will forget. So mistake 4 is failing to manage distractions. Oh, the distractions. And especially in the vacation rental management industry, I think that's one of the things I hear more than anything when I work with leaders is the distractions that can happen in a day. And so really understanding your priorities. Now, are those distractions something that, 1, you're making sure that you can allow time for by not over scheduling yourself? And can you also maybe have those distractions be handled by the person bringing them to you? Because often what happens is it's a critical situation. And so are you setting your team up to handle those situations so that you're not doing it all the time? The other distractions can be so many different things. One is in your email box, not having it pop up every time you get a new email. Now, there's something to be said about being quick to respond on certain things, but it's also like if you're working on a project, you time block the time for that project and don't have those distractions, whatever that looks like. So for me, I actually have a door to my office, and it's a sliding door, but it's still a door. And because I work from home, on the door, I have one of those little golf flags that say, "Quiet, please." And that lets my family know that I am doing something where I can't have distractions. That doesn't mean I'm going to be down here all day, but it means that there's a block of time where I'm not available. It really helps with your concentration when you're able to do that. Mistake number 5, procrastination. Even though I have the strengths of responsible and disciplined, one of the pieces is I can totally procrastinate. Oh yeah, I'm one of the best procrastinators. You bet. There's certain things that I really don't enjoy doing, and so I will procrastinate it. One of the hardest things for me to do is write. I'll write for like VRM Intel, or I'll try to do my own blogging. I really struggle with that, and I will procrastinate it till the very end. The other thing is putting together proposals for presentations, as I was just working on that for the end of the year here. I just understand that I will procrastinate, and that's okay. Sometimes the procrastination is my push to get it done because there's always a deadline that's going with that. Mistake number 6, taking on too much. Oh, I have watched people do this so often, where they just keep on saying yes and yes and yes. And then also, they might be that person that is a micromanager or cannot feel comfortable delegating. And it just bogs you down. The inefficiencies that happen when you're in that place, it's pretty bad. And so really just making sure that you have really healthy boundaries of what you can say yes to, and being okay delegating and not having to micromanage every little thing. Mistake number 7, thriving on being busy. Oh, you know these people too. They love to rush around and they're always too busy for everything. There's never any time. They don't know how they're going to get it done. Like, that is literally how they operate, is from that just addiction to being busy. Instead, slow down. Manage that time. Know when you have time to relax and be quiet and just be present with others. Mistake number 8, multitasking. Oh, multitasking. So in hospitality, I think that there isn't many actual job descriptions that I haven't come across that don't say, must be a good multitasker. Well, I will tell you, after reading tons of articles on multitasking, multitasking does not produce efficiency at all. You're never doing anything at 100%. You're only doing it at a lower percent. And so multitasking, yeah, when the people are saying, oh, I'm great at multitasking, that's great. But does that mean that maybe you're good at working under 100% all the time on everything? I don't know. I think you have to let your perfectionist tendencies go with that. But it's also just trying not to multitask, especially when it comes to really connecting and being present with people, giving people that space to listen to them actively and not be thinking about something else. This came up recently in a group that I'm involved in where we have been on Zoom for a year now due to COVID, and it's time to go back face to face. And one of the things that I was noticing, and that was also brought to my attention at the same time, was that people were multitasking during our meeting. And this meeting is once a month for 3 hours, and it's supposed to be very focused time to give to one another and help each other in everyone's business needs. The multitasking that's happening is people are on their phone or they're on their computer, and you can tell because we're on Zoom, we can see each other, and I can tell from the facial expressions that they're not really listening. There's something else that they're doing at the same time. Mistake number 9, not taking breaks. Oh, yes. Knowing when you're doing a certain project or you're working long days that you must take breaks. It really isn't effective for us to be working as much as some of us are, especially in hospitality. And I know it's something of like, no, you just do it. You work 50 plus hours and that's how it is. And there's no time for breaks. I eat at my desk. Well, you know what happens is you're not really effective when you're doing that. Something gives because nobody can operate at that level all of the time. So making sure that you're taking breaks, whether it is just like a 10-minute walk outside, maybe it is a 1-minute little meditation practice at your desk. Take those breaks, get up, go get some water, whatever it takes just to stand up and do something different. Mistake number 10, ineffectively scheduling tasks. And so thinking that maybe some things don't take as long as they do, and then you get bogged down because you're not staying on task because you don't even realize. The other part is just knowing when you are at your most effective time. And so for me, like even recording a podcast, I know that I do best in the morning. So that means a morning run, good breakfast that happens before that, and then that's when I'm at my best energy level to be in front of a mic. Now, MindTools is a great resource, and I love how they broke down the mistakes we can make. I always love a good Harvard Business Review article, and one that they put out on time management, how it's more than life hacks. So they break it down into 3 particular skills. Awareness, thinking realistically about your time by understanding it's a limited resource. Arrangement, designing and organizing your goals, plans, schedules, tasks to effectively use the time. And then adaptation, monitoring your use of time while performing activities, including adjusting to interruptions or changing priorities. So they went through 1,200 people who participated in an assessment on time management. And what they found that first, all 3 skills mattered equally to the overall time management performance. Therefore, only improving like one piece of those 3 really didn't produce any major results. Second, people struggled the most with awareness and adaptation skills, where assessment scores were on average 24% lower than for arrangement skills. So it suggests that awareness and adaptation are not only rarer skills, but are more difficult to develop naturally without direct intervention. Third, the results ran counter to popular thoughts that the virtues of the determinants of multitasking. Basically, right? The evidence revealed that their preferences for multitasking were actually unrelated to time management skills. How well or poorly people managed their time had nothing to do with their preference to multitask. So, the extensive attention so often given to multitasking by those offering time management tricks is unlikely to yield any real success. Fourth, people are not at all accurate in self-evaluating their time management proficiencies. Less than 1% of people's self-ratings overlapped with their objective skill scores. So self-ratings only accounted for about 2% of differences in actual time management skills. So how do we improve our time management skills? We start off by building accurate self-awareness of our time management skills. Then we recognize that preferences matter, but not how you think. Self-awareness of one's preferences or personality related to time management, such as multitasking or being proactive, can deepen an understanding of where you might struggle as your change efforts go against existing habits. Identify and prioritize the skills you need to improve. Yeah, it sounds obvious. It's to avoid self-improvement that is an inch deep but a mile wide. Developing awareness skills. So, find your peak performance time like I was talking about. I know when my peak performance time is. Treat your time like it's money. I treat my time like it's money. With every client that I work with, I have a tracking system of how much time I spend with them, because it then lets me know what I should be putting out there as far as pricing, but it's money to me. Try timing up, which is what I just kind of explained, the recording of tasks. Evaluate how realistically you assess time. I do have a time for every part of my podcast producing that I do. I know that as I continue to do this, I will become faster, but I also need to know how much time it takes me, because it's a good amount of time when I do every little piece of it. Take a future time perspective. Think about how the tasks you are doing right now will help or hurt you in the future. And that was one of the things as I was talking with business professionals, and we talked about how much time the podcast takes. And they're like, Allie, is this really what you want to be doing? And I said, yeah. And we broke it down to why I did like doing it. One, I love interviewing people and connecting with them and hearing their input on different leadership skills. Two, it pushes me to do research on topics that I might not research otherwise. And then three, I like learning new skills. I just do. And so all of the technology and bringing it together, it kind of goes into my event planning time management that I enjoy so much. And then avoid the sunk cost fallacy. When you think you might be spending too much time on an activity, step back and evaluate, just like I said. Develop arranging skills. So prioritize activities and obligations. Avoid the mere urgency effect. Urgency and importance are relative, but they're also distinct concepts. Urgent tasks require immediate action, whereas important tasks have more significant and long-term consequences. Use a calendar app. Oh yeah, I'm crazy about my calendar app. In fact, I had to I called it blowing up my new business domain because of how I had set it up. And I lost my calendar for a weekend as well as my email. And I really had to talk myself down because I live by it so intensely. Schedule protected time. So I schedule time for my exercise. Reduce underestimated errors. So when forming plans, ask a neutral party for feedback about your forecasting time requirements. I totally asked somebody about that, like, how much time do you think that it would take? And I will say, I did have a snip of Sarah and T's podcast. They had shared how much time they had spent on each podcast. So I already had in my mind what it would probably take me. Try half-sized goals. So when struggling to attain a goal that seems to be challenging, set a less difficult version of the goal. Then developing adaptation skills. Try habit stacking. Tie your time managed behaviors to your habits you already exhibit, right? I'm a tracker. Yep, I track everything. Use the short burst efforts. So that means really like having short time periods for things. People have talked about with the podcast, like take 2 full days and just get it done. And I find that I'm not sure I necessarily do that best. I can do a half day, you bet, but I want to work on other things too. Time tracker, checklist apps, play with them, find what works best for you. Don't be a reminder misser, right? Make sure that you have detailed descriptions of what you're supposed to be doing so that you remember. Create a contingency plan. So I always give myself a buffer, like a good amount of buffer, because I know I might be having a bad day and I might just take an entire day off. And I have the luxury of that being self-employed, whether I decide that, you know what, I'm going to go cross-country ski, I'm going to go hike. I need time for myself because I'm not at my best for whatever reason that day. So just know that. Give yourself that cushion. And then definitely seek to reduce time wasters. Just really, the social media can suck you in, whatever it is. Just time is money. Another article I came across, Andrew Ratner had shared from the Berkshire Hathaway company, and it was just really easy that I liked, of like a few things to remember. Time block. Schedule the hard stuff first, right? Eat that frog first thing in the day. Reward yourself. Give yourself some time to go out, take a little walk, have a lunch. And then the other one, just be kind. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. And understand, you know what? It's okay to take a day off. That might be what you need at that time. So, I know time management can be so daunting, but I'll leave you with this quote from Stephen Covey. Time management is really a misnomer. The challenge is not to manage time, but to manage ourselves. Thank you for tuning in to Snack Leadership. I hope you felt inspiration, motivation, and felt your mindset spark. Snack Leadership is recorded and produced by myself, Ali Cammelletti, and music by Shireen Amini.